and past Idaho State Director of American Atheists, introduce Lori Howard. And then after Lori finishes, we'll have Susan talk a little bit about atheism in our sister state of Idaho. So today's speech will be on a Supreme Court decision which came down Monday, which called the Nampa Classical Academy Bible case. So let me turn the time over to Susan, and you don't want to hear from me anymore.
Well, I've known Lori for about 12 years, and 10 of those she's been president of Idaho Atheists, and about 6 of those or so we work at the State Department together, and that's going to be the main part of her talk is about charter schools. We did have a case in Idaho that she was right in the middle of at the State Department, the point person for charter schools. So we worked together for the last 10 years with Idaho Atheists, and so she has a lot of knowledge about all that we've done in Idaho, but she has specific knowledge about this charter school case. So she's going to explain it all to you.
Well, thank you all for inviting me here. So first off, I'm going to ask, how many here are familiar with charter schools? Most of you are familiar with charter schools? Okay. That's the waitress too. How many of you think that charter schools are private? Oh, good. Okay, good. Because that's a major misconception, is that charter schools are private when they're not. They're public, free, open to all students, and they must adhere to all the state education laws, rules, regulations, curriculum, and stuff like that. So basically, I'm just going to go through a little bit, give some background between charter schools in Idaho and Utah. They both passed legislation in 1998, both Utah and Idaho at the same time. However, Idaho's legislature decided to limit the number of charter schools that they allowed. Only 6 per year were allowed in, where Utah didn't have that cap. And also Utah helped with facilities. That's a big thing with charter schools, that they don't have money to build a school. They have to, and they don't get bonds or levies either. So they have to get donations, and then they also get federal funding too. So a lot of times charter schools are housed in portables, old buildings, strip malls, and sometimes churches. They'll share a church, or they'll even own church. But anyway, just this year, Idaho lifted the cap, so now it's unlimited how many charter schools can be admitted into Idaho. Currently, though, Utah has 82 charter schools, and Idaho has 44. So because of the help with the facilities and with the cap, you guys have more charter schools than we do. So anyway. A little background. So when a group of people, usually they become the board, come to the State Department of Education where I work, they bring what's called a petition. And that petition, once they pass, becomes their charter, which then that rules the school. That's their Bible, I guess, to run the school. And that's what they have to use to run the school. The main characters for this little thing, they're twin brothers. They're called Mike and Isaac Moffett. They're the Moffett brothers that ran the school. Val Bush was hired later as their headmaster. They had some board members, but that changed. And then there's also, Idaho has, I think Utah's the same, charter schools are authorized by either the school district or another entity. And in Idaho, it's the Public Charter School Commission. So the commission was one that was involved with Nampa Classical. Okay. All right, so in November 2007, the Moffett brothers came to the State Department of Education and gave us their petition. And that takes 30 days. So basically, when they submit a petition to the State Department of Education, we pass it around to different people in the department, experts. We take it to the head of the curriculum department so they can review their curriculum. We send it to the head of the special education department so they can review their special education. So everybody reviewed it, and if they see anything wrong, then we sent it back to the school, say you need to revise it because you're not meeting the legal standards of this petition for it to become a charter. So that's how we're the front line to see their petition. So we did that. We didn't see anything. They just said they were a classic academy, a classical education, which means they were just going to use original source texts to, they didn't even say that in the petition. They just said that they were just going to use classical materials. They're going to use more books, textbooks, instead of the computers and stuff with their kids. They can even, I think they even taught Latin in their school. Okay, so after we looked at it and revised it, the petition then went to the Nampa School District, and that's the school district where they were going to have the school. That Nampa School District referred them to the Public Charter School Commission because they didn't want to have this. So she took it on in August of 2008, and during the first hearing of the Charter School Commission, the Nampa Classic came up. They said, "Wow, you guys did an awesome job. You're a school. Your petition passed. You're a school." They didn't know. They reviewed it and they didn't see anything wrong with their petition. Okay, so that was in August of 2008. So they had planned to open in August of 2009 because it takes that long to get a school because you got to get your teachers, your principal, you got to get everybody hired. So during this time, we had a thing going on at our State Department where my direct boss decided to quit and move on somewhere else. So we had a lag of a couple of months. It was just me there at the department. So we didn't hear any indications of what was going on in Amp Classical during the summer. So here we are during June of 2009 when they hired Val Bush as the headmaster of the school. And the school decided, we want, the newspaper, they invited the newspaper out to interview him. And this guy decides he was going to announce that the Bible was going to be taught for its literary and historic qualities. All of a sudden, it hit the fan. So one of the Moffat brothers said they're not Christian values, they're Western values. And then the head of the Public Charter School Commission who granted them their charter said, the Bible was not discussed in their charter. Had we known, we wouldn't have spent more time on it. So this is all in June of 2009, and they were going to open in a few months. So all of a sudden, Nampa Classic also said that they're dedicated to using direct source materials. They will study the writings and documents most closely associated with historical events in the Bible, the Quran, and the Book of Mormon. So, we also found out about a month later, this is when all we started doing research. Things were, attorneys were starting to ask for documentation and things like that. So things were starting to happen. We found out through our research that the Academy borrowed much of its curriculum from Hillsdale Academy. It's a private Christian prep school in Michigan. But they will modify it to be appropriate for public schools. They also, one of the guys, the Moffat brothers, met with the Christ Church affiliated Logos School and with the Association of Classical and Christian Schools. So, let's see. Also, the latter part of July, they had a charter school meeting with the Charter School Commission. They pulled the school and said, okay, we need to know what's going on at your school. You're going to meet with us and discuss what the heck is going on. So, at this charter school meeting, the Attorney General, we have an Assistant Attorney General that sits with the Public Charter School Commission whenever anything comes up, she offers her advice. She stated that although the U.S. Constitution may allow charter schools to use the Bible, the Idaho Constitution prohibits the use of religious texts in public schools, no matter if it is used in a religious or secular manner. In Article 9, Section 6 of the Idaho Constitution states, no sectarian or religious tenets or doctrine shall ever be taught in public schools. No books, papers, tracts, or documents of a political, sectarian, or denominational character shall be used or introduced in any public schools. Okay, at this time, the Charter School Commission, the Charter School Commission did not take any action because they wanted to look further into legalities and everything. Also at the same meeting at Nampa Classical, then they got a chance to speak. They cited cases where religious documents were used, and they stated that the U.S. Supreme Court banned ceremonial school Bible readings in 1963, but said the Bible is worthy of study for its literary and historical qualities, so long as it is presented objectively as part of a secular program or education. So then in August of 2009, the Assistant Attorney General issued a 5-page memo, and I brought it here, that's based on federal and state case law, as well as strict language of the Idaho Constitution. It is likely that the effort to use the Bible as a text in an Idaho public school would be found unconstitutional under the Idaho Constitution. So, at this point, at this meeting, the Public Charter School Commission told Nampa Classical School to not use the Bible or any religious texts as instructional text. If you do that, what they issue is called a notice of defect. And so basically, they go in and they can, if you don't correct a notice of defect, they can legally shut the school down, take away their charter. So, right after this meeting, that lovely principal was interviewed again. He decided that he expressed that in September that they're gonna push the opening date of September because of what was going on. And he also stated that the school will explore several different theories of creationism. Yeah, I'm not very bright guy. Let's see. Okay, and at this time also, the Nampa Classical Academy decided to this group contacted Nampa Classical Academy as the Alliance Defense Fund. They said they would represent them for free, so they would fight their case for them. Once they got involved, the ADF argues that the Idaho Constitution sought assurances that the right of public schools to use the Bible as a teaching tool would be protected, and that Nampa Classical Academy has a statutory right to choose its own curriculum. So that's what they said. And at this time, when the ADF took on their case, they decided, okay, we don't have to listen to the Public Charter School Commission. We're going to start using our texts again. So they totally denied or refuted what the Charter School Commission, their authorizer, told them. Said, you can't use this. They said, forget it. Because our attorneys say we can, we're going to start using them again. So, also, okay, at this time, this is down in September, and the school has just opened. The State Department, we started requesting receipts because at this time the school was receiving federal funds, which we have to oversee. What are you spending the federal money on? We have to monitor that. 2 months later, in November of 2009, the Charter School Commission issued 9 notices of defect to the school for reported failures that by the schools to comply with their charter and other regulations, including special education reports, which means they are not receiving federal funds. So they did not complete their paperwork properly for their special education children. So if they don't file it up completely, they don't get those funds. So those students don't get assistance. Since the school opened, 9 board members have quit, 7 in just the past month. Other issues are fiscal instability, improper certification, failure to submit required reports, allegations. Also, the Nampa Classical Academy, their authorizer, the commission, has the right to come in and see what's happening at the school as their authorizer. And they're refusing to let the commission come into their school to see what was going on. So that was also happening. Okay, now it's next year, January 2010. They had more meetings. Finally, the Charter School Commission has decided, enough is enough, and they started what's called a revocation process. It's the revoking their charter. And then a hearing officer was appointed to listen to the case as a mediator. Let's see, May of that year, of 2010, more budget issues and the revocation process continues. They met with the hearing officer on June 11th. A hearing officer will just submit an evaluation regarding the school's finances. Oh, okay, and to date, the Nampa Classical Academy, this is how good they wrote their budget, overestimated how much federal money would